Welcome to Midday. Your news at noon starts now.
Afternoon, and thank you for choosing Midday. I'm Renae Skinner. A late-night home invasion in Lowndes County sends one person to the hospital. Investigators say just before midnight, at least two black males entered the Tabernacle Road home. They were armed and wearing camouflage and black clothing. The person that was shot is in stable condition right now. Deputies say the other two victims were assaulted and will recover. No arrests have been made. Police say a man is arrested for being a peeping Tom after someone spots him in the act. 23-year-old Derek Kimball is charged with voyeurism. Around lunchtime on Tuesday afternoon, Tupelo police were called to South Highland Drive for a possible peeping Tom. The witness on scene provided a good description of Kimball, and police caught him a little while later walking on Bogan Avenue. Kimball was arraigned at Lee County Justice Court, where Judge Chuck Hopkins set his bond at $3,500. A tragic accident in Hamilton County claims the life of a grandmother and grandson. This morning we learned 16-year-old Gavin Toller, and Tyla Toller both died in the wreck near Clarksdale. Investigators say the accident happened at the intersection of Highways 45 and 145 in the Delta. An SUV pulled into the path of the Chevy Tahoe the family was riding in. Tyla Toller's husband, Rusty Toller, is in critical condition. Witness Donna King says some of the Tahoe's passengers were ejected after the minivan didn't slow down at a stop sign and struck the SUV. 4 others traveling with the Monroe County family were also injured. 8 months and still no sign of justice for the family of 21-year-old Deja Shaw. On Thanksgiving night, shots were fired in West Point at a Moneybag Yo concert at the Bryan Union Hall. The Shaw family and attorney in the months to follow released a radio ad with the hopes of someone coming forward with information. West Point Assistant Chief Albert Lee says though it's not the most traditional method of gathering leads, it is helpful to the investigation.
The radio ad is very helpful. As long as we can keep this fresh in the community eye to let them know that we are not sitting by the wayside, we're not letting it become what they call a cold case, and that we are going to pursue it wherever it may take us.
If you have information and would like to remain anonymous, call Golden Triangle Crime Stoppers. The flooding issue is being resolved for Starkville's new police department headquarters. Originally, the grand opening for the building was set for June, but a water leakage problem has put the plans on hold. To make sure something would be done, the Board of Aldermen and Mayor Spruill met with Weathers Construction last night to completely rid the water from the basement.
I just told him we appreciate what you're doing, but it is totally unacceptable to the citizens of the city of Starkville for there to be any water seeping or flooding on the floor of our brand new renovated police station.
Crews put in a sump pump in the basement to prevent future flooding situations. The completion date is set for August 11th. All you have to do is listen up to get involved. The Palmer Home for Children is hosting its 5th annual Radiothon. The broadcast began bright and early at 6 a.m. today, and from now until 6 p.m., listeners can tune in to Super Talk Mississippi. The show's lineup will include interviews with children, alumni, staff, and supporters of the Palmer Home. Organizers are hoping to raise double what they collected last year. Every penny raised will go towards the children. It's also Campus Combo Day. The Palmer Homes campus is hosting children from the Hernando campus. The children will get to enjoy food and fun throughout the day. Well, I sure hope those kiddos are staying cool because it is hot outside. Here's meteorologist Alex Puckett with the latest. Alex?
Thank you very much, Renee. Very hot today, and a couple spots may get a little bit of relief in the form of some showers and thunderstorms. A couple of showers now popping up on radar in southern Oktibbeha and Lowndes counties, but this will be the case of the have and have-nots today, with most people being the have-nots as far as rain is concerned. Most spots in the 90s this afternoon, but those heat index values already in the triple digits across much of the area. As we go through the rest of the afternoon, those temperatures are going to continue to climb into the upper 90s with heat index values in the mid 100s. Renee?
All right, Alex, thank you for that update. Tupelo police make 2 arrests in an armed robbery, and one of them turned out to be the victim. Arsenio Banks and alleged armed robber 16-year-old Justin Weatherspoon are in jail on separate charges. Banks initially told police he was robbed at gunpoint with his child in hand. He says he chased after Weatherspoon and another suspect until the suspect shot back at him. TPD says evidence shows Banks had been armed when he ran after the suspected robbers and fired at them, all while holding his child in his arms. Banks was charged with felony child abuse, misdemeanor possession of narcotics, and a probation violation. His bond is set at $3,500. Weatherspoon has also been arrested. He has previously been certified as an adult through circuit court. His bond is set at $100,000. This incident remains under investigation. A beautiful ceremony honoring a fallen agent took place at the Tishomingo County Sheriff's Department yesterday. It was to honor fallen Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics agent Lee Tart. Tart lost his life in Tishomingo County in February of 2016 while responding to a 6-hour standoff that ended in a shootout. To honor his legacy, the Sheriff's Department dedicated a memorial plaque and a flagpole in his name that now sits in front of the department. Next on WCBI Midday, all eyes will be on O.J. Simpson once again as the former NFL star faces a parole board to ask for his freedom. Details after the break.
Parole or probation before, therefore you have never had a parole or probation revocation.
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay. And I have that you were unemployed at the time of this offense because you were in retirement status.
That's correct. Yes. Correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, this is a property conviction. We're currently hearing you on the robberies and the enhancements. And so you have been assessed as a property offender. Now, we've also assessed you as having a substance abuse problem.
It's a story that's going on right now as we speak. After nearly 9 years in a Nevada prison, O.J. Simpson is facing a parole board today to ask for his freedom. Simpson is serving time for the armed robbery of sports memorabilia dealers. Chris Martinez has the details from outside the courthouse in Carson City.
Dozens of news crews and media outlets have converged on Carson City, Nevada for O.J. Simpson's long-awaited parole hearing. The NFL Hall of Famer will appear through video conferencing from prison in Lovelock, about 2 hours away. Simpson has served nearly the 9-year minimum of his 33-year sentence for the armed robbery of 2 sports memorabilia dealers in a Las Vegas hotel room. Today, he'll personally appeal for his release.
Usually what they want to hear is, I'm sorry.
Legal analyst Lori Levinson has covered Simpson since he was charged and later acquitted of the 1994 double murder of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
That murder trial can't be considered by the parole board in this case. They'll instead evaluate Simpson's behavior in prison, his age, and whether he could be a risk to the public. The board may also hear from some people who support Simpson's release, but experts say board members have likely already made up their minds. In 2013, the same board granted Simpson parole on some of the charges, but he still needed to serve 4 more years. How surprised would you be if he was not granted parole?
If he's not granted parole, I think there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on this parole board, and they're going to say you treated him wrong or you treated him unfairly because he was OJ.
If parole is granted today, Simpson could be released in early October. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Carson City, Nevada.
Now, if you would like to watch the hearing live right now, you can just go to cbsnews.com, but no one is set to speak against his release during today's hearing. Even the prosecutor who sent Simpson to prison is expected to support his parole. Well, President Trump is expressing regret about his choice of Attorney General. Speaking to the New York Times, the president denounced Jeff Sessions for withdrawing from the investigation of Russian election meddling. He said Sessions should not have taken the job if he felt he couldn't be involved in the case. Major Garrett is at the White House, where the president also discussed the man who took over the Russia probe.
I am pleased to endorse Donald Trump for the presidency of the United States.
Candidate Donald Trump was captivated by Jeff Sessions' early campaign endorsement and, after victory,
Jeff Sessions,
rewarded him with the slot of Attorney General.
I have now decided to recuse myself.
But when Sessions recused himself from the Russia investigation, sources say the president saw weakness and divided loyalties. Those sentiments boiled over in an interview with the New York Times.
Sessions should have never recused himself. And if he was going to recuse himself, he should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else. It's extremely unfair, and that's a mild word, to the president.
I didn't not have communications with the Russians.
Mr. Trump also criticized Sessions for giving, quote, bad answers during his Senate confirmation hearings. Sessions testified he had not met with any Russians, even though he had met at least twice with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. They should have been simple answers, but they weren't, Mr. Trump said. The president spoke about the special counsel investigating Trump campaign ties to Russia, Robert Mueller. He said Mueller should not investigate his family's financial dealings and was asked if questions about his finances would cross a, quote, red line.
I would say yes. You know, I sell a lot of condo units, and somebody from Russia buys a condo, who knows? I don't make money from Russia.
The president also addressed his previously undisclosed conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the G20 summit.
It was not a long conversation, but it was, it could be 15 minutes, just talked about things. And I actually talked about Russian adoption with him, which is interesting because that was a part of the conversation that Don had.
And that was Major Garrett bringing us that report. We will have more local news after the break. But first, Alex, it's still hot outside, I bet.
Right, it's still hot out there, and hopefully some spots will see a little bit of relief in the form of a couple of